All right. So I want to thank you guys all for like hopping in at like total last minute and dealing with my like craziness. But I really like was have like all these ideas and I want to run them by you because it's a team effort and I look at our team as a team and I want to make sure that whatever I do is duplicatable and I just think it's good to bounce ideas off. And I know a lot of you guys have great ideas too. So please, please, please share them. I think that's the beauty of the team is we all have different strengths and weaknesses. And that's actually something I'm going to talk about a little bit. So I went I went through a funk. Like everybody does. This is a really hard time of year. I found out some personal information, family not related to Beachbody that was completely like a huge blow. And this is just a hard time of year for me personally. But like I just posted on my Facebook, I had a conversation with my son. Life is, 10% about what happens to you and 90% about how you respond. And that lesson just kept like replaying itself. It was me. It's my attitude. Like I couldn't recruit a coach to like save my life. And like, I don't struggle with Success Club. Like I did in the beginning, but I changed my mindset. And then all of a sudden I had no problem hitting Success Club when I was traveling around Europe and barely working. But because I mentally was not, was going through something, I had a hard time hitting Success Club and recruiting the kind of coaches that I want on our team, like the kind of coaches that you guys are. You guys are like the core of what I love about this business and the people I want on our bus, the energy bus, which is actually what turned me around was the energy bus. And I have just realized that I was the problem, I was the issue, and it was my attitude. And nobody was going to change that for me. And I remember sitting on the couch and it's like, 7 p.m. at night and I'm at like Success Club 2. And I think that was in September. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss Success Club for like the first time in 3 years. And Scott looked at me and he's like, I don't think it's 8:59 p.m. yet. And he goes, get off your ass and do something about it. He goes, you're just going to sit on the couch and let that happen. And I'm like, no. So I didn't. And I pulled out Success Club 12. And so that just showed me like what I could do. And that's my story. But I was realizing that was me. And I was causing all of this. And I needed to get myself out. And the only way I was going to get myself out was personal development. So those of you who have talked to me in the last, because I kind of go into a hole, like let's just, say that I go into a hole and I just start PD. Like I can't get enough of PD. And I realized before I wasn't really like, I was doing PD, but I wasn't listening to it. It was going, in my ear and I don't know where it went, but it was not going in my mind. So I decided like, I need to actually like open my ears. So I opened my ears and started listening to it. I found things that really spoke to me and I just immersed myself. And I have said this before, I believe in listening to books. I think the calls are great and I've been doing those, but I also believe you need to commit to a book because a lot of times you listen to the calls and you're like, and I was talking to Jenny about this, where you're like, oh, I need to change this in my business and I need to do this. And like, then you're like, oh, the reason my business is failing is because, I'm not sending a newsletter. Or my business is failing because I'm not doing this, or I'm a loser. This person went to 2-star in 3 months. And so I realized that like I have to have both. And with a book, you apply it to you. It speaks to you. It tells, you hear the principles and you're like, oh, I need to do this. I mean, even Jenny commented, Shailene Johnson, like she's amazing. But if you listen to too many of her podcasts, you're like, holy crap, like I'm not on Periscope, my Instagram stinks, like, I got to get my stuff together. And so I found it was stressing me out and it was because of where I was mentally. So went into the books, good old Audible. I can list the books that spoke to me, but I really, honestly, you guys, I've listened to probably more books in the last like couple of weeks than I have in the whole entire year. And just, I've listened to some pieces I've had to rewind and really listen to. I make sure that if I'm multitasking, because let's face it, I don't sit down very much, but if I'm multitasking and I feel like I didn't hear what he said or the author said, then I stop it and we'll listen to it later, because I feel like I need to make sure that it is sinking in and I am getting it. And if I'm not in a position to hear it, then I need to wait. So, that's what I've been doing, is I PD'd my way out of a funk, and it has paid off. I went into heavy recruiting mode. And because the other thing that I realized in the process was I got away from what I like to do, which is working with new coaches. And I was actually trying to be somebody I'm not. I was trying to be organized in a way that I thought everybody needed me to be. I'm organized, but it's different. It's organized chaos. And that's just the way that my brain works. And honestly, like having things really super organized in systems like my husband, it stresses me out, which I'm sure it's vice versa for other people. We have some people on this team that are so organized, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And I know I stress you out. I know that. I'm all over the place, but that's who I am. And I think that we have to realize as leaders is that we need to be who we were meant to be and who we were created to be, and why you are all successful, because you all know how to get to diamonds. You all have gotten to diamonds. Some of you are multiple star diamonds. So you obviously know what you're doing. It's when all this other junk comes in that we get distracted from our purpose. So I sat down and I'm like, why do I like this business? What do I like to do? And I wrote it down. And I realized I was forgetting the basics. Like I wasn't focusing on them. I wasn't mentally present in my challenge group. Yeah, I was posting and I'm liking comments and stuff, but mentally I wasn't there. And that's, that was my thing. Like most of my good coaches came out of challenge groups. And I realized I needed to get back to that place. I needed to work with who I wanted on my bus. And I, because I had been burned this year, I've put a lot of time into people that got almost to diamond or like said they wanted it and then they quit. And I know better. I totally know better. So but it just happens. And I think these lessons happen so that you can share them with others and learn from them and become stronger. So one thing I want to make sure everybody's doing is be who you are. Don't try to be somebody you're not as a leader. Don't be like, if like I listened to the Best of the West calls because I had a long couple. I've driven more miles in the last month than I can remember. I've been to Seattle a couple of times. I went to the beach. I've been all over. And that was a blessing because I got to listen to more personal development. But also it made me, it just made me realize I listened to the Best of the West calls. I drove up to Seattle and I drove back in like less than 24 hours. And when I was listening to those calls, every one of those people, they're all top leaders, had a very different way they were running their business. All different. Nobody was the same. One person would say something, another person would say, they're like, I would never do that. And then on the next call, you hear that's all that person does. So it made me realize that everybody leads differently. They lead with their strengths. And so write down what your strengths are and lead with those. And then your weaknesses, delegate them, give them to someone else. And, or, try to figure out how to get them done. I mean, I didn't have an assistant until I was like a 5-star. And so I couldn't delegate stuff. So I delegated to people on my team, as some of you people on this call, or I did the bare minimum that I needed to do for those just to get by. But I really spent the majority of my time in what I love to do. And so I wrote down what I love to do. And I love working with coaches. I love being in challenge groups. I started a fit club where I had people come over to my house and work out in my garage. I love that. Like nothing inspires me more. So I feed my energy off of those situations, and I wasn't getting that because I got too distracted and I was spending most of my time behind a computer, which I would like rather have my teeth pulled out than sit behind my computer more than an hour a day. And I'll just be honest with you, I don't like it. So I just really got back to what I like to do. So write down what your strengths are and your weaknesses, and then write down who you are. Like, why do you like this business? Why did you get into it? When you were working towards diamond, what were the behaviors you were doing? Like, what got you to diamond? And because that's what's going to help somebody else get to diamond. And it's going to help you keep your diamond and get your second business center to diamond and your spouse to diamond. It's how did you get to diamond in the first place? What were you doing? Because you all did it. So write it down. And then I would also encourage you to write down who you want on your bus. And if you haven't read The Energy Bus, please read it. It's like the most amazing book ever. And I'll probably be talking about it for like months. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, please read it. It's not very long. It's a great story, I promise. But it's about who you want on your bus and who you don't want on your bus. And we're not in the business of desperation, because if you get the wrong people on your bus, it is going to cause you more heartache than be worth any amount of money it brings in. And so what I would suggest doing is be very specific about what you want. And I realize, like, if you've got that at the forefront of your mind, I listened to a podcast by Keith Callahan that talks about this. If you know what you want, then when you see someone like that, you're going to be more apt to find it. You're going to be like, hey, that person will make a good coach. They have the qualities. So I went through and I wrote down, what kind of person do I want on my team? What do my coaches, have in common? Like, what do you guys have in common? Why do I like you guys? And I wrote those down. And then I went and I wrote down, like, what are those people's fears? What are those people's strengths? What do those people like to see? Where do I find these people? And that's all I did. And then I went on a hunt, because I want positive energy on my bus, because I know I feed off of it. I love what this business can do with fun coaches. I mean, it's a fun business if you make it. Remember, it's all in how you respond to things. So I went through and I started seeking these people out. And you guys, I recruited like 6 people in like a week that are kick ass. Like, I am like so excited I can hardly contain it. Like, they are texting me constantly, which, is a little stressful, but I'm like, be excited. And they're messaging me, they're posting in Team 360. I'm sure you can identify who they are. And they're excited. And you know what? Their excitement is very contagious, because they're positive people and they're like, we got to make this work. And like, just talking to them is inspiring, and it's inspired me to be a better leader and a better coach and to work harder. So I signed them all, and then I hit Success Club like immediately, like 10 right off the bat. And it was honestly because they were pushing me. Their excitement was pushing me. So find those people, write everything down you can think about them, and go on a hunt. And I know that sounds weird, but really, truly, you're looking for your next 5 best friends. So go find, like, that's my thing. Like, go find your 5 best friends. And I was talking to my husband about that. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go find 5 new friends. And because that's all I can focus on in a month. Like, I know that about myself. The other thing I like about it is I build this business on relationship, and I got away from relationships because I was stuck behind my computer. So I was always just messaging people, and I don't like that. That's not how I work. It's not what feeds me. Other people that works really well for, they don't want to be on the phone, or they don't want to talk to people. Well, I got overwhelmed because I had so many people to talk to that I was like, well, I just don't want to talk to anybody because I feel like it's unfair. And really, that's the wrong response. So I just had to kind of change everything. And that was one thing that I did. And it was, I just was like, I got to start getting back to basics and building the relationship, because for me, that is one of my strengths, is relationships. I'm a very relational person, a very emotional person. And I did that, and that has helped. And so I think, finding out if you're somebody that likes to be on the phone, get back on the phone, have boundaries around it. If you're somebody that prefers to message, then message, because chances are you're attracting those people. And I realize I attract relationship-oriented people, and then I'm not getting on the phone with them. That's demotivating to them too. So that's just kind of one of my things, is make sure that you are using your strengths and, realize like what you're strong with, what you like to do, and design your business around that, because it really is your business. You can do whatever you want with it. Because when I was sitting behind the computer, I was not being true to who I am. I was not being true to myself. And I'm trying to like formulate documents and do these things. And then I realized like half the documents you guys have. Why am I not like, I've taken, why am I like trying to recreate things that we can find on Google? Or, like Jenny's really good at doing processes. Misty's really good at drafting emails. Amanda, I don't know how you come up with those pictures you do. I wish I could do those. But I mean, all of you have different like strengths, Julie and Erica, like your posts always make me like, oh, those are so good. Such good posts. Where do you come up with that content, And Sarah, she's like kicking butt with her posts too. And I'm just like, all of you guys have these strengths. And I'm like, why am I not drawing on these? I think as a team, we need to come together more like we did in the beginning. So one of the things I want to do, and sorry, I'm like rambling, but I told you guys I had a ton of stuff. So, actually, I'm not sorry. So anyway, I really want to come up with an onboarding process that works. I have been doing the Coach Basics that I was supposed to do because I'm supposed to do it, and I hate it. And my new coaches hate it. And I feel like it's like I go in there and I'm like, post, post, post. And you know what? For some people that works really well. But my coaches are like, oh my gosh, that's, I can't keep up. And I'm like, oh, you just have to read them. Well, yeah, exactly. Most of them are too long. I don't want to read them either. And so I would rather have videos. So I want to come up with a 21-day training thing that we all can use. You don't have to use it. Like you say, you know what? I love the Coach Basics. That is fine. Remember, I said what works for you, what will work for your coaches. It doesn't work for me. It's not working for my onboarding process. My coaches like videos. They like short videos that are under 2 minutes. I like short videos that are under 2 minutes. Maybe some that are 5 minutes, but no longer, because I tune out. I'm not, if you, watch me, I only put up videos that are like, I try to do them under 5 minutes. And if they're long, I feel really bad, but they're usually because I have something I want to say. So I would love to do a 21-day Coach Basics. We all create the videos. We upload them to YouTube, and then we have a document where we can all share from. So when you run your own Coach Basics, you have that. And I think the cool part about that is it will be really helpful because we do have different coaches that learn different ways, and they can hear from other people on the team and not just me or not just you, so each, they'll be like, oh, well, I just saw that video that Vanessa did on sharing your story. That totally, resonated with me. Or I saw how Jenny, talked about how she, starts people off. And they'll be able to relate because they're not just seeing the same face every day. I think it would be really good. So if you want to be part of that, let me know. You can I'll put a thing in the leadership page, and you can comment and say, hey, I'm in or I'm not in, and I will not have hurt feelings, trust me. But I really think it would be fun for the team if we had that kind of process. Hang on one second. The kids are being loud. Just a second. You guys, no, upstairs, now. Sorry. They're like banished to their room right now. So that's my one idea that I really want to do is that 21-day thing. And then also, just making sure that we have, if we could get that process down, then we can do one for Emerald to Diamond. I'm in an Emerald to Diamond thing with corporate right now. And guess what? It's the same thing. Posts are freaking too long. I don't want to read them. So the people I recruit are not going to read them. I know this. and they're not going to get it. I'm a relational person. I love videos. So I think some posts are okay if they're short, but the long ones are just confusing. So I think that we could, we'll see how this goes. And then if it goes well, then in January, we could launch like an Emerald to Diamond group as a team and then work on getting people to Diamond, because I know all of you are trying to get your coaches to Diamond. And that's another thing, like as far as working with new coaches, make sure that when you're recruiting these people and you're onboarding them, that they're actually like doing the work. And if they're not doing the work, just wait till they do it and they come to you. I'm just telling you right now, because that's what I've been doing, and it is working a lot better, and it's a lot more fun. And I just tell them like, hey, let me know when you're ready to work the business and, ready to put in the effort. And I had a girl, the other day tell me like, yeah, I like how you're straight to the point and no nonsense about your expectations. And that's really what I've been trying to be clear about with the new coaches, is like what I expect of them. Emerald is, I was listening to a thing this morning. Emerald is a choice. It's not hard. It's a choice as to whether you're going to get to Emerald or not. It's two people. Two people. Everybody knows two people. If you say you want to work this business, you can find two people. So and when she said it's a choice, I was like, she was right. And I have been onboarding my new coaches with that, Emerald's easy. It's so easy. You just need two people. And then Success Club is a cakewalk. That's what I tell them. Like, you only need one more person. And they're actually doing it. And just keeping things really basic and simple with them is what worked for me. And that's what's working for them. So figure out what worked for you, because chances are that's what's going to work for your coaches. And we're all different. Some of us need a lot more information than others. And some of us, we just run and then we look. So you just need to figure out what worked for you, because like I said, that's what's going to work for your coaches. So anyway, that was kind of what I had to say, was more, just kind of the process I've been through. Thank you for bearing with me through all of it and being such an incredible team. And then also, if you want to do this 21-day, I would love to do it with you. If not, no problem. And then if there's things that you think, like, I would love to get a big Google Doc together, like a Google Drive. I know a lot of us have Google Drives, but something where everything is one spot. Not my strength, but I'm willing to try, and I'm willing to put resources to help get it there. But I need to know what needs to be there. Like, what are the most important documents you use? What should a brand new coach in their first 30 days have access to? What should they not have access to? What is too much? So that's another thing I really want to figure out with this new onboarding process is, what information should we be giving them in that first 30 days and then the second 30 days? Because if we give them everything at once, they're overwhelmed. And, and I don't care who you are. If you're somebody that can, I have coaches that can take a lot of information, and they've even said, that's just too much. I love information. And then you give it to them and they're like, I am way overwhelmed. So think about like what is helpful to your new coaches in that first 30 days for success. And, and then we can together come up with a process for them, because I think the onboarding is key. If you onboard a coach the right way, they can get to Diamond really fast. And then what they'll do is they duplicate that. So the way they're onboarded is how they're going to onboard their coaches. And that's what's going to duplicate down into their downline. And really, that's the legacy that they're leading. And we need to make sure we have that process solid and not confusing. So I wanted to open it up for questions. Who has a question or a comment? Like any suggestions, anything you want to do? Feel free to unmute yourself, or if you raise your hand, I'll unmute you. Anybody? Okay, please, somebody say something.
Okay, me. Oh, wait, no. Who's starting? Jenny, I'll fight you. Hey, you know what? I just appreciate you saying that, because somewhere down the line it got really complicated. And I remember when I was first with you, it wasn't that complicated. And I'm thinking back to when I got to Diamond and I offered everybody the coach discount, and then because that was just easy for me. And somewhere down the line, that was like the wrong thing to do. So then I, started doing, so it did get complicated. And I found myself over the last couple months going back to that and offering that and being able to sign people up and offering that, because it's still great for business. But you're right. But you know what, for me, I've struggled with feeling, because, you and I are similar in our lack of organization. And I think Jenny is amazing with her organization, and just sometimes a smidgen of what she has makes me feel amazing. But I struggle with, we're supposed to be duplicatable. That's always been the hardest thing for me. And I know I drive some of my team crazy because they want I's dotted and T's crossed, and I don't function that way. So how do you bridge that gap? And that's what I've always struggled with. And I think that's why I struggle in that leadership role, because it's like, you got to be duplicatable, you got to be duplicatable. But when you're a little bit kind of more sporadic in your leadership, it's hard to be duplicatable. Does anybody track with me there?
Well, I'm pretty sure that I drive like Jenny and Amanda crazy and Sarah, because I am their leader, and they're all like super organized people, like very organized. And like, I look at their team documents and I'm like, oh, I wish I could hire you guys to work for me because you're so awesome. But I think that also comes with the fact, like, I heard this coach say something the other day, and she said, you'll never recruit a coach better than you. And I think that's bullshit, and I'm sorry for those of you that have kids around, mine are locked upstairs. But my goal is to recruit coaches that are better than me, because you know what? They're leaders. They're leading their organization. So I felt bad. And then I'm like trying to be organized and I'm like, I can't be organized. Like, I can't be organized in that way. But I look at their success and I look at how they run their teams, and I'm like, it's like being a mom. I'm proud of them. I look at how I'm like, before I was like, oh, I need to be more organized. I wish that I need to create a document like that. Well, nobody wants my document. And I realized their documents that that's awesome. And that we're really on a level, like we're level now. Like, I helped them get started. I invited them to the opportunity, and they did what they needed to do with it and use their strengths. And I think that's where you have to realize what your strengths are. And you always want better for your kids. Well, I always want better for my coaches. I want everybody's to surpass me. Like, that's my goal. You always want your kids to do better. And that's how I feel about my coaches. So I know I drive you guys crazy, but they've been so gracious. And, but I mean, I'll let them speak to it too, because they have to deal with it and they're super organized. So maybe they could tell you.
Yeah. So I think about this all the time because I'm going to do an organized list. I always recruit coaches that are just like me or more that way. So I get this stuff all the time from them. And also just because, like, for me to be successful, you sort of have to like work within your strengths, but also like recognize where they're holding you back from moving forward, kind of, if that makes sense. If you're doing too much, if you're spending too much time in your area that, like Shalene talks about that, like the area that you're like really good at is like, sometimes you're almost putting too much time into that to the detriment of other areas, So like for me, what I do is, and it's a work in progress, I don't really know the right answer, but what I had to learn was to like focus from personal development to focus more of my energy on recruiting and doing things that weren't perfect and just getting them out there, because I realized that it's a very forgiving business and that people were not going to look at it as, you know what I mean? They were going to still join me even if everything wasn't perfect. So I sort of had to I literally still have to do that. At the beginning of the month, I have to be like, I'm not going to worry about that. That's all in the back burner. I'm just going to hit my success club, or like, this is my number one priority and everything else is going to be slightly messy. Like you guys know, I have my contacts organized in Streak. I still to this day have like 20 or more people like sitting in my old system on Evernote, and I haven't looked at their stuff in months and I haven't followed up with them. And I'm probably like leaving money on the table by doing that. But like, that's not been my priority to get them organized. You know what I mean? So back to my coaches that I sign up, they're like always asking me all these detailed questions. And I just teach them the same thing I had to teach myself. I just say like, okay, well, I understand that that is like, will be nice, but right now you just want to get 3 people signed up. And then once you get your 3 people signed up, then you can spend some time, organizing. But for now, just take what I'm doing. I just say like, I took the coach above me, and I say, just like, don't worry about it not being perfect. It's very forgiving. Like, I basically just tell them what I tell myself. And I also tell them when they want all the details about the comp plan and stuff, I tell them like, I watched videos about that when I first signed up. And then like 6 months later, I couldn't have told you anything about what it said, because even though it made sense at the time, it wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for that information. And so just tell them like, well, that's all really important to know. Like if you spend your time on it now, it's going to be wasted because it's not the right point. So you need to kind of get the basics down and then like learn more about the details. Like and if they don't want to listen to me, that's their choice. But I just tell them like, if you want to build your business more quickly than I did, then you'll have to like just go for it and not be so compulsive, basically. But I don't know, that may come better coming from me because I can tell them from my own experience. Versus like you as their coach, like you may want to just like, you can use examples maybe from some of us that are more that way. I don't know. Or like, I think Tanya's idea is really good of us coming together to do some of the training as a group. Because like we all do have different personality styles. So they might like, connect more. So anyway, I'm rambling, but I'm in for the videos because that's, speaking of priorities, like on my priority list is like do videos for all of my coach basics, but it's like below 3 million other things. So I would love to get that done, and with more people involved, it will get done faster. So,
yeah, I think if we all, like, we just all come out together and, we each record a couple of videos, and then I'll have my assistant put it in a document, and then you guys can all proof it, and, and then we can use it, and then our team can use it. And that way we're not always, because like for me to think about recording 21 videos or even 10 videos, like that's not a great use of my time right now. Let's see here. Melissa had a question. How do you go out and find your 5 new best friends? This is challenge for me and I can't come off mute. Okay. So I wrote it down. Like I literally wrote down who I wanted to work with and who I looked at like the leaders I have right now, like you guys, and I'm like, what do I like about them? Why did I, and I looked at how they came to me. And let's see here. Where did they actually come from? Well, I'll tell you exactly where they all came from. And so one was a lead. I have Amanda who was a lead. She's a great coach. I have Justin who was a lead. Great coach. I've got some others. Well, I just got my new coach, Vince and Christina. They were leads. And like they told me like, they couldn't afford Shakeology. They bought it off eBay. But they were signed up, came as a lead. And when I talked to him, I could just hear in his voice, like, we were talking about family and we were talking about like, what he was accomplishing and with his wife and him, like making a change for their family. And I'm like, I want him on my bus. And so I invited him. And then another gal I actually talked to a year ago about coaching, Lindsay LaRoe. And she told me, maybe, and then just, wasn't ready. And then she's had some personal stuff happen. And I just figured, but I didn't know about that, you guys. I had no idea. I went and I checked back with her and I said, hey, I'm not sure if I know we talked like a year and a half ago, but are you still possibly interested in a mentorship? And she's like, oh my gosh, yes. Like I'm totally interested. And the girl literally like has not stopped like since she signed up a week ago. And then another gal posted in the feed. Like I got out of the feeds, you guys. Like I'm like, I can't look at the news feed. It's too distracting. Well, I got back in the feed because I found coaches in the feed. That's where I got Shelly. And I found a girl named Becca. And she's so cute and so adorable. And she's so positive and excited. And I wanted her on my bus. So I invited her. And then another person is a professional. And she likes working out. She doesn't done Beachbody programs, but I got her hooked on E&E. And then she started Shakeology and she really likes it. And I planted a seed a month ago and then I invited her on my bus and she got on my bus. Let me think of who was the other, let me see who the other person, the other person, military. I do well with military spouses. So I have a friend And I know she's a military spouse, and I just invited her. That's where I got them. I just looked at the kind of coaches I have where I got them. And another one was a friend from high school. That's where that's Jenny. So I just kind of looked at that and like where I had previously found people and who I do the best with. And then I went and like searched them out. So it's kind of funny that they all came from those different avenues. And my like page. Pretty much really getting into my like page again. And just messaging people and building, relationships with them. And then just kind of like, that's a longer process. It's not overnight, but nothing's overnight. You have zero success. I will post what I send them and they don't all respond. But I also am a hardcore targeter. I target a certain market. Because I have made some big mistakes with targeting. I target me. Like I look at what I like, what I have to offer and the pages I like, and I target that. And the lower the number, I feel like the better because I feel like you get the most quality. And that really stopped me from getting some of the people that I was previously getting, which were not good, wasn't a good market for me. So make sure when you're targeting that you really narrow down who you want. Like I know for me that I do well with ages like 28 to like 45. Anything, that's like my age group. I actually do really well with moms, but moms with like multiple children. Because I was telling Sarah this, like once you go into that 3-kid number, it's just chaos. Like you can't be prepared for it till you get into it. And so like the moms with like 3 to like 6 kids, they like get me and I get them. And so that was a good thing for me is like moms of lots of kids, not just a mom. I mean, I do fine with moms with 2 and moms with 1 and non-mom. I do great with non-moms. And then the other thing I realized is I actually do really good with working with guys. And I was like, I can only talk to women. But actually, like, I do well with guys. I've worked in predominantly male careers prior to my time with Beachbody. And so I realized, like, I communicate very well with men. And so I started recruiting men again. And, they're great. It's awesome. There's like, they just do what you tell them. They're very rational. No offense to anybody, but they really are. My husband's like laughing in the background. But it's true. And especially like, family guys, like guys with families, kids, want to be the supporter of their family. They're great people. So that I've kind of just looked at that, and that's how I target. And so I completely redesigned my targeting too. But I got that number really low. But I will post the little thing that I send them because I do send friend requests often from my friend page or my like page to my personal page. And but I look at their pages to get to know who they are and what they have to offer, because I don't just friend anybody, because then you can get some weirdos. You can get some good laughs too, though. But I just look at their pages and like, I want to be friends with this person. And then I just go looking for my 5 new best friends. So.
Are you basically just looking at their pictures? Because a lot of people don't have their stuff public, so you can't see beyond maybe a couple profile pictures. Yeah. And stuff.
I look at their pictures, and then if they're weird, if they, and then if they're weird, and I've already accepted them, I just defriend.
Yeah.
I also got really good at my defriend button. I will say that. I had some negative people on my feed, and I didn't realize how it was impacting me. And I just went through and like said, nah, no thanks. Because even though it's like, here and there, it's just seeing that. And now that I'm back in the feed, I'm not in the feed for very long. I'm just actually looking for people that I want to work with. But I think it's important to make sure that you just like know how to use that button. Because I was like, that would be, because I've been defriended, and I'm like, why did I get defriended? But I got defriended the most when I was in Europe, and I just thought that was interesting. So that was my heavy defriend time. So, and I was kind of hurt, but then I felt like, you know, if people don't want to be happy for me, then we should not be friends. So anyone else, any other questions?
Can I ask another question?
Absolutely.
I've talked a lot already, but so I don't know, I may be asking this on behalf of the other people that are systems people, but so like when you say to do your strengths and not your weaknesses, I feel like I can put a good system together is not a very effective strength in terms of recruiting and building this business. And you can't like delegate the relationships. Not that I even want to. I mean, I feel like I am relational too, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of like, I mean, I have, like, how is that? Like, you know what I mean? I guess I don't know how to really like change that into a strength that's actually building a business. That's more just like being efficient, you know? I don't know.
Well, my husband built a successful business being a systems person, being an introvert, like right here. I think it's a gift. I think that you need to find out, what do those systems people like? Like, what kind of pages do they like? Where do they hang out? What, you know, what appeals to them? When you look at a post, what appeals to you about that post? Like, I know for a fact, Jenny, that you like cringe over misspelled words. And I know Sarah hates when I send her a bunch of smiley faces and like all that stuff. So don't put those in your posts. Put stuff that appeals to you, because then you attract those people. And, you know, I think with being a systems person, like, you systematize when you do your posts, because I guarantee you systems people check your Facebook the same time every day, right? You're not sporadic like someone like myself or like Misty, who's probably like, oh, I got a few minutes, like, squirrel, I'm going to be on my phone. So I think that you, as a systems person, like, I think it's awesome. Like, you just need to embrace it, and you need to figure out, where do you find more people like you? And the other point is, like, look at who you are. You're a professional, so you need to target, you know, professionals like doctors, and be targeting like your type of person, because I think that's where you're going to find your people.
So you're saying just to like use your strengths as ways of recruiting more than anything.
Exactly. I think you use it as a recruiting, because you know those behaviors. So you use those behaviors to find more people like you, because they're going to, you know, and you'll find different people that are, you know, because obviously for some reason you all came to me as your coach, and you're different, but so you're going to get other people too. But I would use it as a strength. Mm-hmm. You can totally like systematize recruiting, and you know, figure out, where did you get your coaches? You've got, you know, your kick butt coaches right now. Mm-hmm. You know, like Archana, where'd you get her? We'll go find more of her. Mm-hmm. And then use it as an advantage, and just systematize the recruiting. Yes, Sarah?
I guess I would add into what Jenny's saying, that I'm kind of learning about myself. So, sorry, 2 headphones doesn't work. I love systems, and I'm right there with you, Jenny. Like, it's painful to me to not have a system or a clear black and white. How do I do this? And sometimes when Tanya has these awesome visions and you share like these things, but I'm like, okay, no, I want A, B, C. Like, how do I get to your vision? I need the ABC. Anyway, where I think that it would really help is, I also know, like you, Tanya, I do so well with momentum. So week 1, whether it be a challenge group or my coaches group, I love it because everyone's on fire, and that makes me on fire, and that's what I love. But then by week 3, I often feel like I'm dragging and beating them over the head, and that doesn't feel good. And where I think it might really help is, we as a team are awesome. And Jenny and Amanda and I, okay, so we're great with systems, but I'm not great at being fun. Like, I laugh at myself. I think I'm fun, but most people may not find me fun because I'm kind of black and white. So if we have a group of us running a, thank you, Jenny, a Coach Basics or a whatever, they're getting a taste of all of us, not just, at least maybe it's me. I don't feel as much like that. I'm pounding people over the head and they're only hearing from me. And I'm pulling from Coach Caleb videos or Melanie Mitro videos. I'm actually then, it's a group of us, thank you, Melissa, who are sharing our strengths with those new coaches. And although I love having my own team and doing that, and 360 got overwhelmingly huge for me, I think as leaders, we can come together for those new people in a way that we can continue to give them the gift that we all got when we were new coaches, because I feel that maybe some of the new people are lacking that camaraderie that we got to be a part of. And so I guess that doesn't help with recruiting, but I think it does help with duplicating and also utilizing our team momentum, because our team as a whole is really strong. And I just think it would help our new people. I don't know. That was a rant, but thanks. I feel good. Everybody thinks I'm fun.
I know that when I first started Team 360, I had like, just a few people, and I went to them and I was like, hey, I'm going to start this team page. And, I think of it as our team. Do you want to come with me? Can you help me? And those of you that are on this call, you did. You were like, yeah. And I think somewhere along the line, like, things did get huge and got complicated and we got away from that momentum. But I think right now we have a gift, because if we're coming into the end of the year, so we can set the stage, and then we can go into January like killing it, is what my vision, is. And you guys can help me with the ABC, but I really feel like we can come together and like, if, and use that momentum and like, just, with the systems and things like that. Like, I have systems in my head, and I've documented some of them, but, that's how I organize them. And I'm having my assistant, document them. So we'll have some of those as well. But I really think that, like, honestly, like, just utilizing all of our strengths. And yeah, you do need to work on your weaknesses, but they shouldn't be the highlight of your business. Like, I shouldn't go out there and try and like, I'll just tell you, I was recruited out of college to work for Intel. I worked in their marketing department in California. It was super fun, but I needed to live in Oregon to be with my husband. I transferred to Oregon and I did production planning. Do you know what production planning is? It's working in Excel all day long. It's what Leanna does. She's fine with it. She's okay doing it. I would drive. It was like death for me. Like, I had this great paying job with all these benefits and I did not like it. Could I do it? Yes, I could do it. And I did it very well, but I didn't like it. It wasn't my passion. And so I know that about myself, but I also know that I'm an influencer and I'm someone that has vision and passion. And so we can utilize that strength. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I can put things in Excel, because I can, but it's not the best use of my time. It'll take me way longer than the rest of people that can do it. I think that for recruitment though, like focusing on finding your 5 new best friends, like I really want you all to do that. Write down who that person is. And for you systems people, you just systematize it. You're like, where do these people hang out? Where do they go? Where do I find them? Where do I like them? Look at, just looking inward at yourself and like what you like, what you like to do. And like I said, systems people are easier because you're predictable. You're more predictable, your behaviors, more than like sporadic, crazy people like who are emotional like myself, who are all over the place. So, that would be what I would do if I were you. And Erica's jumping off. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Erica. But that would be what I would do for recruitment. But I think go out and find new friends. And I think it'll really change your business, because you can also, no matter who you are, you're going to feed off of that emotion and that excitement. Okay, I'm going to unmute Amanda. She has her hand up. Okay, go ahead, Amanda.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, yep.
Okay, sorry for getting dressed in front of you all and all that good stuff. I also have a tip for you. Don't use your bathroom. I was worried about you guys being able to see me and turning my camera and turning it off. And then I forgot I have a roofer up there and a skylight. So I didn't even think of that. So, hi. Anyway, I just wanted to say real quick. So the lack of systems doesn't drive me as crazy because I can develop my own systems. As far as within your system, it's for me, it's like, okay, well, if you tell me what to do, I'm going to learn it and try and do it the best I can and make it my own and go with it. It's when what the advice or the task is changes constantly that really is hard for me. So it's like, we're going to do this 90-day to diamond group, or we're going to do an emerald group, or we're going to do a coach basics group. You have to be in a coach basics. And the next week, it seems like now this is the new thing. And now this is the new thing. And I feel like we don't always get a chance to make things great if we're constantly changing what they are. So I guess to me, that's like one of my big things. Like I like to be able to master something, and I feel like we don't get that opportunity if we're constantly like shifting our focus. So, like the coach basics, like, you know, you were running coach basics. So I just couldn't seem to take that big spew of stuff and make it my own in a way that appealed to me at all. So I was putting my people in yours. And then I started doing my own open houses. So because that was smaller and more concise, and I wanted to do video ones. So I started doing that before, which I was really happy with. But because I was able to tackle that and kind of make it my own, and I thought to be on my team, it was more important to have a little more personality of your own there. But as far as the training aspect, like, you know, okay, so right now I'm at like ground zero, basically. So you say, look at your successful coaches and what attributes they have. I don't have any. I have none. I have none at all. And I have no new ones signed up, which is fine. But that also means that I can't look to that to figure out what qualities I need or want or work well with. So I guess for me, like if I was to add someone to my team page now, it would be like crickets, because anyone that is in there is like an inactive coach or a sort of dabbles coach or a discount coach or a coach who says they want to do it but then they don't, and then the next month they say they want to do it again and they don't. So there's no one like, so if I add someone in there, even if I find the perfect person tomorrow and I add them in there and they go emerald tomorrow, it'll be like me saying, yeah, you went emerald. And I really like thought that the team camaraderie and stuff and being able to get to know all those people was cool when I started. Like I was able to have Misty say good job when I hit diamond, or have Shelly comment on my transformation, or have Sarah send me a message saying, you know, you're doing a great job, and develop relationships with this whole challenge group that you had of all these coaches that that's how I met them, you know, and became to where I felt like I belonged was by that group interactivity that we had by seeing each other's posts every day. That's how I got hooked into this whole thing, you know, because it wasn't a direct like business opportunity, like invitation for me. It was like, well, why don't you try my challenge group? I know you're doing great on your own. You already lost 50 pounds, but you know, I do have these groups. Maybe you might want to try it. And then I got in there and I was like, holy cow, these people like all know each other. And I remember even posting like, so you guys are like all friends and you all know each other. And you guys are like, well, no, we're all like in this group. We know each other. And I was like, oh, I mean, like you made friends, like, you know, and that was cool. And that's what makes it have something to offer for people like me, you know, was like, this is my new like surrogate family. I mean, I see you guys every day. I see my husband twice a week, you know, and so
My
it's
husband's
like
laughing because he agrees.
well, it's true. And like I get on there and I see you guys and I'm like, oh, look at what she did or that. And watching everyone's journeys and stuff, you get invested in each other, right? And the level of commitment goes up because the level of people who are going all for it goes up. So I guess I would have to say that that's something I would hope we could, you know, and I like the idea of the group document with all the stuff, just like I believe I messaged you about when you tried the new open house formatting. And I said, I really love the videos where there was a little something from each person on the team, because that's what makes it feel like, okay, I saw this perspective and that person can do it. And this person works full time. And this person, you know, if I had joined a coaching group with 5 stay-at-home moms who make full-time businesses off of this, I would have never, ever thought I could do it, no matter what I was told, because that's not, you know what I mean? Like, that's not my situation. So why would I think, okay, well, she can do it, so I can do it too, you know? So having a little bit of everything, I think, is helpful to all of us. Because I know that, like, Vanessa was staying home but felt like something was missing, and Jenny has a huge successful career, and so she didn't have to, but she decided to anyway. So that tells me something, you know? And it's just like everybody has a little different story. Sarah left her whole damn job to do this thing. So like everybody's perspective is a gift. And I think if we don't use that, which seems like we've gotten away from, I think we're doing a disservice to all of us on all of our teams.
Yeah, and I think that like a lot of that falls on me as far as like it you know is the
Well, I wasn't trying to criticize.
no,
you.
but I think
was
that's
just,
like what I was, you know, coming up with. What I realized is like I built like when I started this, I got into it for community. I wasn't to make money. I wanted the community because I didn't have the community, and the community that I had a good influence on me. And then I coached more for the community and not intending for it to be an income, but then it became an income, and that's really awesome. But I've realized the times that my business has been successful, which my business is only successful when my team is successful, is when we had the community and the relationship together. And that's why I'm like, let's do this Coach Basics for the onboarding. And I do think that we should have a list of all the stories of everybody so we can use them for, you know, the coach sneak peeks and things like that. Because I think also depending on who you have in your group, it can be appropriate to use stories like Jenny or stories like Misty's or stories like Vanessa or, you know, Julie, who is a personal trainer. Like I get people all the time, personal trainers are like, why would I do that? I'm a personal trainer. Well, Julie can tell you exactly why to do it. And so I think having those stories, and then you can look at who's in your sneak peek and be like, all right, I'm going to post these stories, you know, because I intentionally a lot of times don't tell my whole story to new coaches because I know it'll scare them off. Because I would have ran for the hills. When I started knowing that I could pay for my Shakeology and part of my grocery money was like a big deal to me. And so when I speak to people, that's kind of what I talk to them about. So I think that, I think you're right. Like, I think that if we get back to the community and, you know, and you decide what that looks like for you guys, I think if we could, you know, I always feel bad asking people to add more to their plate, but I do feel like this is really going to be awesome if we can do this because, you know, the Coach Basics, I get a lot of pressure from corporate to use their tools. And so I'm like, all right, fine, I'll use them after, you know, the 5th call I've gotten. And, but I mean, now I'm just going to say, you know what, we're going to do this. And I think if we see how it looks and then commit to it for first quarter. And, you know, because that was the thing with the Coach Basics. I've been using that Coach Basics since it's been like almost 6 months. And I still don't like it. It's still not working. I still have to go in and explain. Like, it doesn't even have a thing that talks about if you're qualified for leads or not. I had to go in and add that. So, you know, that's kind of a big deal. And I think it drags out Emerald. So I think that if we come together and figure out the plan of attack, it will accomplish onboarding the coaches and building community, which is what I think most of us, no matter what your position is, you all came for that, like that community, the positivity and the, you know, coming together and like getting the relationship part of it. So because I know that none of you came to me for my system, so I had to be the relationship. So yeah, so I haven't heard anything from you, Julie, so I'm unmuting you. So yeah, what do you think?
Oh, I think I'm with Amanda on a lot of this. I just feel like the same thing kind of in my own team page. It's kind of quiet and there's just not a lot going on. And I feel like they're not excited at all. So I'd like to get more of that going for sure.
So I think like we can do another call on like team culture because that is something that I like to create. I'm definitely is a strength of mine, I feel like. And I can tell you how I've, like what the tricks, the different things I've done to build team culture that really help. But I do think like doing a training together will be a step of building that team culture from day one. Because even if they're, you all have your own team pages. So, but they'll still know, like, they'll be like, okay, who's this Jenny girl, or who is this, who's Misty? Well, I'm going to go, she just did this video, so I'm going to go look at her Facebook page. And then they get like that sense of community as well. I also would love to do, if you guys are excited about this, I don't know, and you're welcome to, but you don't have to, because I know some of you are doing your own and that's totally fine, is I want to do like a big hammer and chisel group, like together, like a big fun, one that we can all like post in and kind of just have that excitement. So that is something that I would love to do with you guys if you're, if you're in. And that's another thing. If you ever feel like your challenge groups are dead or like you need a challenge group with me or something like that, anybody can come into mine that's within the downline. Like you always can. If you're like, it's been a down month and you're like, you know what, I need like some positivity. Like I do add myself sometimes to Jessie's because you know what, she's my coach and I'm still your coach. So I go in there, she motivated me and, I go and look at her post and I'm like, hey, oh, that's awesome, and get inspired, and I'll add even a couple people to it. So don't feel like you have to, because you hit diamond or you hit like a certain point in your business that you are all alone, because it's not that way. Never is. Any other questions? I know I'm gone over. Sorry, people.
I think this is great because I feel I second what everybody's saying. I mean, there's been this push, right? So what happens is there's this push once you get to diamond, you got to run your own page, you got to do your own stuff, right? And there's a certain level that you need to get to. But then what happens is, I know for me, focusing on that, struggling with that, trying to make things, trying to lead my team, trying to pull teeth, and missing the community of what got me here to begin with. And it's sort of like we get to a certain point and we're all supposed to do our own thing. And while I know we can come together in Team 360, it's really hard because, people that I started with, they're off doing their own thing too, right? So it's kind of become like all or nothing. So you start with Team 360 and then eventually get to a point where you're doing your own team page. We're all saying the same thing. We're all back here like struggling, trying to get momentum, trying to get people motivated, trying to figure out how to get more than 2 people in our coach preview, right? Trying to do all these things where it's almost as if we need to get back. And I love you for bringing this call up, because bringing back that community where we could all really come together in Team 360 and supporting our team on the side in our team pages. I kind of had and Tanya and I, we've talked about this. It was kind of like, well, it was hard to lead a team when people were coming into Team 360 and they're looking at Tanya as a leader, right? And we struggle with leaders trying to like, okay, well, at some point they need to look at us as the leader. So really they shouldn't be in Team 360, right? So I went to the whole extreme of like, well, most of my people aren't in there until they kind of get to a certain level where they want more information. And now I'm totally out of it. Now I feel like I pop in there once in a while and nobody knows who I am, and none of the people that I started with are interacting very much, right? So it's just kind of, and honestly, what kind of happened for me is some of the fun, because I second what Amanda said, like coming in with you guys and being there as challengers and growing teams together, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, well, we meet up in a leadership page once in a while or whatever, but we're all on our own trying to like make this happen when we really kind of need our support. Vanessa and I tried to start a coach challenge group because we were feeling like as coaches we needed to have that support. It ended up being a bitch fest, and we're like, wait a minute, wrong direction. So like she and I quickly like severed that, but it was kind of like we were needing that support and we weren't getting it because as leaders on our team page and as leaders of our challenge groups, we have to be the one that are always keeping everybody together. And sometimes we just need to come together with those that we love and started with to say, hey, you know, just to have Sarah say, hey, you're doing great, good selfie. I would like love that. And I've missed that, you know? So I think we're definitely all feeling it. So I appreciate you bringing us together to share kind of what's on your heart. Cause I think, you know, there's a lot, I feel the same way. It's somewhere along the line, I kind of missed that community and it became more of a job. I am very much not the systems gal. Surprise, I know, shocker, right? And I just want to have fun. And I have a lot of people on my team that are systems people and I drive them crazy, but I just want this to be fun. Like somewhere along the line, that's going back to what got me to Diamond, was just by sharing and having a good time and having fun. And it's gotten serious and I don't like being on my computer. And I've kind of got to the point where I'm like, I'm resenting this. Like it feels like a job. Like, when did that happen? I don't want it to feel that way, right? So, and part of it is missing that community.
I think it's a big piece. I think it's the community. I think it's just the lack of community. Like because I was looking at everything because I'm like, what happened? And then I realized like we lost our community, we lost our relationships. And so that's why I think like, and I am totally open to any ideas. Like, it's not just me. Please, you know, if you have ideas, let me know. But I'm like, we need our community back. And I don't know exactly how to make it happen, but I am willing to do whatever it takes because I want it to be fun as well. And I've been having fun. I mean, I, started getting people back on my bus that I like. I've started reconnecting with people. I pop into different challenge groups and pages and things like that and look at different things. But I feel like everybody needs that. And how do we create that? So that's really what I'm trying to figure out. Because I know a lot of you are like feeling the same way, because a lot of you have come to me and been like, my team page, like nobody posts or nobody comments, or I have like one person. And, and it's like, okay, well, and then you're like, well, you have so many people. Well, if you look at the amount of people I have and the percentage that are posting, not very high. So, you have to look at, you might see like 20 people posting, but there's like 400 people in there. Like, I should have more people posting. So I think by doing a training group together and then doing the, group, I would love to. I mean, it doesn't have to. I don't want, is Vanessa trying to talk? Sorry.
That's okay.
Tell me to shut up. Just say, shut up, Tanya.
I think it's really important to remember that community is sometimes what attracts people to the business too. Well, that's a key factor of why I got involved with Beachbody, was because I'd lost my community of like-minded friends who cared about health for themselves, for their children, all of that. And so I needed that community. I just moved, and so that's something I look for in people. People, like, let's face it, a lot of the times people pick up their phone and start scrolling because they're kind of lonely and they're looking for community. And so if we're bringing them in as community as part of the aspect, like part of the process, we need to make sure to provide that, especially if it's part of the coaching, if they come into the coaching side. But that's something that is huge in like my challenge groups. And I think that's really important that we have it, like, because I don't want my coaches to go from this really like lovey-dovey, of course mine are lovey-dovey, right? Lovey-dovey challenge groups over to like this Cold Stone business world of like, did you do your invites today? Did you read your PD today? Did you, like, that's just not always what everyone's looking for. Thanks, Sarah, by the way.
Well, and Jenny, to comment, I actually do think it would start 360. Like, I'm thinking of things as what I want to do. For me, trying to lead a weekly team call and trying to fit everybody's schedule, including mine, and still make it available for people to get on 360. Like, sitting here, I'm thinking to myself, all these things that I've had ideas to do are making sense to me. Like, I want to have a monthly team call. One time, meet with my team one-on-one, but weekly they get on with a 360 call and start letting people and like introduce people. Here's what happens if I'm not adding coaches and my coaches right now are not adding coaches. There's no momentum on my team page, and I can be happy, sunny-go-lucky, positive, Pollyanna sunshine all I want, but it's not helping them. There's no momentum, right? And they need to see other people, like adding people. So I think that I need to get my team back being connected with the big picture, with 360, getting on a coach. I love the idea of doing a joint coach basics with a little piece of everybody, and with like my coach preview. What we used to do back in the day when I would schedule you guys to do a video for the coach preview, right? I do that for my team, but I would love to see like a big coach preview where it's a lots other people within our community, not Brigida Nielsen, not, people that they don't know, but snippets of people from all different walks of life to show, just like Amanda was saying, about how they can be successful. So I think bringing that community into 360 and giving and being more active myself. I don't have coaches in there, so I'm not very active, right? So changing that, I think for me, it would start with bringing people back into 360 that way.
I think that doing a fun, like a coach preview again with everybody's stories too would be awesome. I'm up for anything. I really am. I just want the community back. And, it's kind of like you graduated college and then you're like, okay, where are my peeps at? I'm in this real world thing now and I don't really, but I think that, I think there's definitely like some things, and I would love you guys, like that Monday night call, like I struggle on what to talk about. So please bring your ideas, because I'm always like, oh crap, like I have a call, I need to find someone to talk. I need to like provide, it's a lot of pressure. So if you have ideas or you've got people on your team or you want to do the call, I will like be like more than happy to hand over the baton for those calls. And sorry, my son's like making something. It's okay. No, he's embarrassed. But I really think that, we can use it and we can even rename it. So it's everybody's team call. I don't care. But I am totally happy to like share that responsibility with everybody. So if you have an idea or you have something you want to talk about or you want to do the call once in the week, I will, the first of the month is always about like how to set yourself up for success. And then I'm doing a GSR the last, and so then I only have to find 2 things to do during the month, except for when they throw me for a loop and there's 5 Mondays, then I freak out. So please feel free to like make.
Well, so I have one idea. So I was actually going to do this within my own team, but my team doesn't come to calls, so I just gave up on doing them. And I get good traction on my page, but no one ever comes to calls. But Jessie used to do this where she would take, when her rock stars first started, she would highlight them and have them do a call about what they've been doing. I remember she did that back when she had like Alicia and all those people when they first started. So like I have my girl Archana, who's like has higher success points than me every month, and she just started like 2 months ago. So I was going to have her do a call about what her system has been, because she's like posting these great numbers. But like I wonder if you could do something like that in 360, like highlighting some of the newer rock stars, because it also gives them confidence, and like it also helps like the other people feel like motivated, like this is someone that just started at the same time as I did. And then I'll try to find, I posted in the leaders board like a few months ago, there's a really good call that this one coach did about increasing interaction on her page. And she gave like a lot of specific suggestions, one of which was like, I think she updates her cover photo with like the names of people that with their success club from the previous month and photos also. So they get like a whole month of their face being like on the banner.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. She does like daily post topics, which I started doing in my team, which is hard for me to always get to, but you could delegate. Like we did a team member Tuesday where I had people doing videos to introduce, and then Kelly Williams had the idea to ask like a random question, like if you could go anywhere on a vacation, where would you go? And things like that. And then have everyone like chime in. And then we did like a Fantastic Friday recognition. And so like, I don't know, that was all from that one call, but I thought she had like a ton of ideas for increasing engagement.
Yeah, and you have a lot. Like Jenny's team has a ton of momentum on their team page. Like there's tons of interaction on there.
They don't come to calls, but they
post. No, they like to post.
Yeah.
and they're interactive, and it's like they're always posting in that page, and she is, I think that is true, like having a daily thing. I think that's good.
Yeah, I don't know if we all want like the obligation of like a daily post all the time, but maybe implementing some of those things just to like, I think one time I just was like, Fantastic Friday, everybody post like one good thing that happened in your business this week or in your fitness, or something like that. And Motivation Monday, like with quotes about the business. So anyway, I'm just rambling, but I'll try to find that post with that call, because she seemed to have a lot of good practical ideas.
Awesome. I love that. All right. Well, I know that I'm like way over. I'm so sorry, but I am so excited like about this. And I love how we do like sporadic last minute, not even a 24-hour notice call, and like everybody almost hops on, which is pretty cool. And a lot of you have stuck with me, and even for, oh yeah. So, okay. So for Coach Basics, what do you guys want to do? Do you guys, because I mean, I could like, we can divvy it up and, be responsible, like depending how many people want to do it, we'll figure out how many people want to do it and then divvy it up. And then do you guys want to launch it in December, or do you want to wait till January? What do you guys want to do? Thoughts?
December, please.
Yeah, December, because then I think that helps us. We can kind of work out the kinks. And then because I think we'll all have more coaches coming on board at the beginning of the year. So
yeah,
December.
I didn't have an organized enough plan by December, because I feel like that's why I haven't done it yet, is I don't know what to put in and what order. And like, this is my Emerald obviously coming out, but
I know what to put. And we can hop on, like I'll post a time to do another call, or I'll just write it out in the thing. I know I think I know what I would like what I think makes sense after all the calls I just listened to this past 2 weeks. And then you guys can rearrange it however you want, and then stake claim on what you want to do as far as, doing videos. Because if there's a bunch of us doing it, then you only are responsible for a couple of the posts.
Right.
And that's all I'm, really concerned about. Like Jessie does, rock the basics for her team, and they do really well in that, and she uses her leaders to do it. But they recreate this stuff every single time. And my idea is I want this all in a document. And then, so if, Joe comes on the team, he's like awesome and successful, he can post all of this, you know what I mean? And use it. So, and she has a really easy time turning her coaches turn Emerald and hit Success Club like crazy. And I think it's because their Coach Basics is ran by other leaders on their team.
Well, and having the same videos, like really, people really shouldn't be in Coach Basics more than once anyway. So
yeah,
it's not like we have to worry about repeating it. We're going to see the same stuff, but the other people that we're doing it for shouldn't be in there more than once. So
I repeat everything in my business more than once. People go through my 30-day challenge group like 5 times. They see the same posts.
So,
and if they do and they need that, then that's fine. I mean, the business doesn't change.
right.
The tasks don't change. They're changing.
Well, one thing I like about Jessie's is, so I love the idea of having a document where any of us, even if I did a video, Jenny could post it, on Tuesday because she was going to do her own. But yet I like that in Jessie's, those people are showing up and posting their own stuff. So I'm not just getting to know Jessie if I'm in her group. I'm getting to know all these leaders. And that's where I think the community is going to be huge, because I'll be honest, I'm not going to suddenly, I'm going to share the flip side of it, where not that long ago, and I still hear this, how many groups do I have to be in? How many groups are there? I can't keep up with all the groups. Like, if I'm suddenly putting people in my team page and 360 team page and a Coach Basics and a challenge group, and yeah, I want the community, but it's not for my team going to be putting everybody back in 360. I'd like them to build the relationships in Coach Basics as they're entering this and have that community. And then, I'm going to work harder on building a community within my challenge groups, which that I love. I have that really well. I just have to figure out how to, they then don't show up in the team, but they're also in a coach group and they're also messaging. And I think I have to streamline for mine.
Well, and I think that's the beauty of it too. It's going to be different for all of us. you know, but so just having all those options of where people are going to go and just be able to have some central locations and places for people to go, but it's going to be different for all of our teams. So I think just having all those resources. And as far as the calls, Tanya, the Team 360 calls, you could simply just, starting in December, it's, diamond led Team 360 calls.
Good idea.
So, you've got all your diamonds and we all have to step up and say, hey, we want to talk about this. And if we don't, just like we do for our team calls though, right? We kind of sometimes last minute put stuff together. So just doing it but I think just doing diamond led team calls so that we can all invite our people and they know that it's not, just random people, and we sign up, we do like a monthly sign up, or maybe we do 2 months out, something like that. So we're all scheduled for calls. So it's not trying to figure it out week to week.
I think too, it'll also alleviate, because I know a lot of times you guys, myself included, you struggle with the evening stuff with your obligations to your families. I mean, that's a big thing for us. And I'm like, well, I'm going to work Monday nights, and being able to even take one off a month, like Amanda had to cover me, because Skylar last minute was getting recognized at a basketball thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and her taking on that call. And then I had a situation last month where Justin, one of my newer coaches, and if you have these newer rock stars, bring them for that call. Like, pull them off your team and highlight them and interview them on the call, because he led a call, and ever since he did that, it has given him so much confidence, and he has been a machine with working, because I asked him to lead a call. And so definitely, I think just being able to not have to be there, I love being there, but being able to catch the replay as opposed to having, I can't commit to anything else on Monday nights.
Yeah. It is hard. And plus I think people, I don't know, I get tired of hearing myself on my team calls. I'm like, people are like, they need to have other things. And so that's why I was like, okay, now my team call is from 6 to 6:37, so we can keep us on time and then jump off and go into Tanya's call. But it's like,
again.
What? Yeah.
So
I just I think that it will bring I know, speaking for me, my team, just some freshness, and you can still see me on a call, but with different people, and it's kind of nice. Anyway, I like that. I think that that's a great thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I know Vanessa shared her story last week, and that was a big deal for a lot of people to hear her story. And I think I've just noticed, because by default I've had to delegate some of these calls, because I never want to ask people to do more, so don't ever feel obligated. You can always tell me, no, I will not be offended, but I needed to delegate them for my family. And it turned out, I'm like, this is people actually like this better. They don't want to hear me all the time, because like you said, I don't like hearing myself either all the time. So I think that's awesome. And if you guys have any other ideas, please let me know. But I will get the kind of the rough outline I was thinking done and posted up. I'm going to try and do it by tomorrow. And then any ideas you guys have of what you want to see in there, just start posting away in the leadership page, so that we can put it into 21 days and and if anybody has that already, let me know. But do you, Vanessa? Oh, okay. You just post yours.
Well, as we were talking, I messaged my friend that I was telling you about. She just hit 5 stars, so she's on track to be elite by the end of the year, and she's only been in the business a year. She's phenomenal, a wonderful woman, and she's very organized and systems oriented. And she just sent me hers, and it's 21 days. I'm blown away.
Okay, post it.
What, did I post it, or do you want me to post it?
Please post it in our leadership page.
Okay, it has her team page stuff all over it, but
it's okay. Just so we can look at it and we can say, yeah, this is awesome, or no, we want to change this, or because I'm going to, and then we'll divvy it up. And I mean, honestly, with, I think there's probably maybe 10 of us, you might have to do 1 or 2 posts.
Right.
Cakewalk.
It doesn't talk about videos, and she doesn't strike me as a video person, but I think us adding videos into it puts our spin on it.
I even feel like if I took the Coach Basics I've been using and put it into a video, it would be more people would be apt to watch it, as opposed to what does that say? It's too long. So
Or
yeah.
even splitting it up and doing, some of the post and then having a 2 or 3 minute video to back it up. I think it's because we have to remember not everybody can watch videos at all times.
Yeah,
Too.
I
So
think
I think a combination of both is always a good thing.
I think it's a
I was
balance.
gonna say that videos are really hard for some of us. Like for me, a lot of times I either have like a baby or that's sleeping or whatever. So I think it's good to at the minimum. I like the action items on the Coach Basics, like the take home point. Like for today, these are the 3 things I have to do. You know how I was saying I want to do checklists for my emails too. I think that's really helped people, and I think there's just so much text actually, and most of that text, if you look at it, is like they're not written well. They're like very unnecessarily wordy. They're saying the same thing over and over. So I think if we took like some of the concept of like a checklist of like these 3 things you have to do and then condense the concepts down into a quick video, like it would kind of be the best. And then if you couldn't watch the video, at least you would know like, what you need to do that day. You know what I mean? At least for me, like if you're working and stuff, it's nice to know like this is what I have to do at some point in the day, even if I can't watch this video.
So Jenny, what you're saying is you like checklists?
I know it might surprise you. Yeah. ABC.
I think having a combination, you've got a little bit of the text, you have your action item of the day, and I really think the action item should be 1 or 2. Oh, good, it has a checklist. And then you've got a video, so you're hitting all of your peeps, and again, we're going to try it out in December, and then we're going to see if it doesn't work, we can tweak it, but at least because January is going to be a huge month. So we're going to do our practice in December. I also think what we could do, another idea, is ask all of our coaches that are not Emeralds to be part of it and give us feedback. Say, hey, who wants to give us feedback on this? And I'll give them, I'll put all their names in a drawing and give them a prize. So Hammer and Chisel is, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out because it launches on the 1st, which means that we're not going to get it until, like the 8th or something. So I was thinking of either starting it like the first round on the 14th because I don't really want to wait till January, you guys. I want that program like yesterday. I would like to go get it right now. So we can start the 14th, and then if people get it, or we'll open the group up early, get people hyped. If you get your program, open it and start it. But yeah, I want to start it in December. So awesome. Anything else? Sorry. This is so fun. I miss this. Thank you everyone for coming and, your willingness to like be part of this and to help out. And I think it's awesome. I'm so excited. I mean, like I said, you guys all have different strengths and weaknesses, and that's what we really should be drawing on. And I think will really help us and I think this is going to shorten our to-do list. And I'll post some of the other ideas I have too that I've gotten, and you guys can say, yes, let's do it, or you're insane, don't do that. Because the other thing, like I told you, like as far as the trainings go, you get a lot of pressure from corporate, which, I have the ability to say no, but I feel like if we have something solid in place, then I can be like, well, I got something that works. So, like Micah Folsom did her call, Best of the West, and she's like, yeah, I don't use any of that stuff. And she was in the top 10, and I'm like, and she's on there and she's like, I don't know, and yeah, Megan E. Wilson too. And I think like, but if you've got something solid, then you can be like, yeah, I already got something that works, as opposed to, jumping for that shiny thing like I have done. All right. So excited. I'm just reading all of your things. So we'll start Coach Basics. Let's aim to get it done. I know it's going to take some work for the next week, but let's launch it on December 7th. Let's ask our teams our coaches that are not yet Emerald to be part of it, to be in there. Yes.
Tanya, December 7th, that puts us going over Christmas. I'm okay just bringing it up.
Well, do you think it's okay to start it, December 2nd or on a Wednesday? What do you guys think? Anybody?
Well, we could start it on the 7th and just take a little time off of Christmas. We just allow for that. Are you thinking it needs to be wrapped up before that? No, I don't know. So I was like, I don't know.
On Tuesdays or weekends?
I think starting on a Wednesday is fine. I don't think the basics has to start on a Monday.
Okay,
Really.
let's be different. You guys want to start on the 2nd? Or I mean, we could start on the 1st potentially.
Isn't the 2nd? When's the 2nd? Isn't that Monday?
That's a Wednesday.
Oh, that is a Wednesday.
I mean, if it was me, I guess I would say December 1st, because then you could be like on the 30th, you could post a pre-post and be like, make sure you've all done your like starting steps of like, you know, watched your GSR, blah, blah, blah. Kind of like a warm-up day on Monday, and then it starts on like December 1st. I don't know.
I like it.
You guys
Yeah,
laughing
that
at me?
works. Just, I think a lot of, well, unfortunately, people are starting to check out now. So it's just this week might be kind of hard to get people committed. So if we started later, then we'd have a few more days to get people
Yeah.
going because people are kind of out of it right now.
I will say, I mean, I feel like I'm pulling teeth to get people engaged at the moment, thinking about Thanksgiving. So I'm really looking forward to Sunday, Monday next week of re-engaging people. So I don't know what that means.
Well, I don't think we want to be in a big rush necessarily about it. So
Let's just do the 7th. I feel like it'll give us more time. I want more people. By then they're going to be thinking, oh crap, I really should get my crap together for January. You know, I'm going to try and get organized this month. And again, remember, this is our trial run. If we, you know, this is like our beta test group. We're beta testing. And so let's do the 7th, and then January we'll go into it knowing what we're getting ourselves into. And yeah, we're not going to post on Christmas Eve or Christmas. We'll take it off.
Just build those days if those aren't going to be posting days.
just
Yeah.
run it a little bit late and like end up on the 31st or something and give them days off around the holidays or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. When are you doing your sneak peek, Sarah? 2. I'm going to my. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with trying. We were talking about in my team doing a 3-day sneak peek because I don't know. My last one seemed to lose traction partway through. And then I'd been wanting to do a webinar for a while, and I know other coaches who.
Ew, I don't know how.
No comment.
Sarah can teach you.
It's called a Zoom call with screen share, Tanya. I know.
Half the
So
time
hard.
doesn't work.
Ask God. You can do it. We'll teach you. Anyway, so we had talked about a webinar, but I was like, the holidays, I don't have time. And then I was thinking I needed to start a Coach Basics the 1st. But I think this works out perfect. I'm sorry I ever said anything when you said the 7th. Because now I'm going to fit in a
That's
webinar.
why we all need to get on the call and talk about this stuff.
That's a good idea. So I could even do a sneak peek next week then.
Yeah, see, like this gives us all kinds of stuff because I want to have 1 million people in it.
This month.
Is anybody interested in doing a sneak peek as a big group at all, where we did the 3-day and some of us post? Or do you guys doing well with your? I do a 3-day as well, and I bring my coaches in and have them do videos. But are you guys? Is that like you guys all have it going well with your team, where you kind of do your own sneak peeks?
I feel for me, when I started doing my own sneak peeks, it really increased my team feeling, and it increased. I'm not so far. I don't know why my coaches aren't even helping with videos just on their story, but it really increased the momentum of the people that I brought on my personal team. Whereas when I did them before with the big team, the team feeling wasn't there. So I did one jointly with Shelly, and I felt like doing it with just a couple of us worked well, but the big team, I love you guys. I would want to work with all you, but it somehow something got lost for me.
Yeah, no, and I feel, I went from doing it with my team and then just me doing videos. I did that twice, and I'm like, no, I need to have them do their videos. Because if somebody, I don't know, I feel if somebody has a prospect, they need to hear from that coach who brought him in. So, okay, cool. I was just wondering how you guys are feeling about that. So, picked up when I did my own. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing, that's why it's valid for us to get our stories on YouTube and have them in a document to share in our, so like if you have a group with like I have if I have a trainer in there, I add Julie's story, or if I've got somebody that, is a stay-at-home mom, I can put like yours in there, Misty. And if I've got a a professional. I can put Jenny or however, and Sarah, like somebody that, wants to leave their job, then I can put her in there. And I just think that you can really tailor it to who your prospects are. I do have to run one for my team because there's so many people that depend on it. And then you want to know how I get the most of my successful people in there. I get my coaches, I talk to them, I say, can I add you to this peak? It already finished, the sneak peek already finished, but you can go in and the posts are all numbered. And because I found that people are like me, they don't want to wait. They just want to go through and watch it all in a row. So I've actually had more success by putting people in my old sneak peeks as opposed to a sneak peek that's currently going on. So I leave them up, add them, they go in, and then they're like, sign me up. We get on the phone and we're done deal. That's what I've done. And I just tell them, tag me if you have a question on something because it already finished, but I want you to have the information. And they're like, and I leave it up with all the comments from other people, and they're just like, boom, boom, boom. They do it in like, an hour, and then they come back to me. So, you did a YouTube playlist. Perfect. Yeah, I need to probably do a playlist.
Sometimes people don't understand how Facebook groups work and they can't find the numbered posts. Like they get all mixed up. So I've had some people where I'm just like, here, go to this link and watch these 5 videos.
Good idea.
And so plus it's easy for me to find them there. But that's just Misty. I feel like we could brainstorm more around doing some kind of, whether like a webinar as a team where we all invite people and then we like, you know what I mean? Like I do think knowing the community and other people on the team stories is helpful. But at the same time, I found like ownership of my own videos. Like people really like seeing me on video like 5 days in a row. Like that really connected me so much better to potential coaches. So I don't know how to like kind of do both, but I think it's something we could talk more about at some point.
I think so too. Well, let's get, I'm going to get this recording up in a private thing and all so that like Shelly and Eric, because they were working today, can hear it. And I know other people had to jump off, but you guys all stayed, which is cool. There's Brenna. But I am so excited. I haven't been this excited in a long time. So let's get going on this Coach Basics and get your do a sneak peek. Like let's do sneak peeks next week. And if you don't have one, you can add to mine, use one of your old ones, and let's go for it. All right, guys?
It's 28 degrees and I'm headed on a bike ride. I got to bundle up.
Yeah, it is here too. I want snow. Come on.
Yeah, it's really cold and there's like no payoff without the snow.
No.
It's cold. I'm like, this is horrible. Where's the snow? Now I have to go places and I have no excuse. So, all right, guys, thank you again for your time. I really, value your opinions and your time. So thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the call, Tanya.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.